Good morning, folks. I have a set of irons here from Black Mountains Leather Co, which are, excitingly for many of us in the UK and Europe, in Wales. And the irons that they have sent me are a set of their irons, and we can see there that they're nicely etched with Black Mountains Co, and they are 3.85mm, 7 SPI. I have an 8-tooth and a 2-tooth. Come nicely boxed, but we can't use the box. We just want the irons. So we'll dig them out. Now, if you go to my website, and I'll put a link at the bottom, www.armitageLeather/shop, you'll see there the packs, but you'll also see the ability to download the review pack for all the pricking and stitching irons that I do, and each iron that I do gets a page like this, and it tells you what make the iron is, what level it is, and this particular one will cover everybody, beginner, intermediate and advanced. I have here the 3.85mm, the 8-tooth and the 2-tooth, 7 SPI. It also comes in 2.25, which is 12 SPI, 2.7, which is 10, 3, which is 9, 3.38, which is 8, 3.85, which is 7, and 4, which is 6. To be fair, you've got pretty much every size you're really going to need there. 12 is a rare one, but if you need it, it is there. I've had a look at that. It's a lovely iron. I don't have one here. I've only got the 7 SPI here, and you can get them from www.blackmountainsleather.com, and I'll stick a link down the bottom and at the end of the video. Now, the length of the iron is 120mm. It's a nice little size. It's, yeah, everything about it is good size wise. It's 38mm wide. To be fair, I've got the specifications on the sheet. If you're really that interested in those sort of specs, go and have a look. What I'm interested in is, does it do the job, and what are the teeth like? Now, the teeth on these, this is 7 SPI, but obviously if you go down to 12, it changes. From 12 SPI, it's 1.3mm the width of the tooth. Up to 7.6 SPI is 1.9mm. And I would imagine, I've not seen them all, so I'm having a little bit of a guess here. I would imagine it's going to swap somewhere in the region of the 9 area, either 12 and 10, and then 9 up, or 12, 10 and 9, and then 8 up, being the 1.9mm tooth. But they are lovely. What they're made of? Right, okay. So, you're going to have to download the pack for this. W-MO-V-CO alloyed PM high speed steel with a hardness of 58. I'm presuming that's Rockwell hardness. Now, on that subject, I've got a student, Martin. He is an engineer, and he has taken a number of irons and he has tested these. His spiel on the steel that's been used for these irons is that they are very good grade of high speed steel, with the European equivalent being Rapid or 3207. It is a very good quality cold work tool steel. In essence, it is a steel that far exceeds what it is required to do, which is to prick or punch through leather. So these are going to last a very, very long time. He's done a number of other irons as well, and before you start jumping on the board, what does this do, what does that do, he's basically said that every iron he's tested so far is as the manufacturer states. Nobody's fibbing about the steel that they're using, and they all far exceed the purpose that they're made for. They're stronger than they need to be for the purpose of pricking or punching through leather. So rest assured, all your irons are good quality. Now, these aren't stitching irons. They've got them on the website as stitching irons. Okay, we can call them what we want, but they are, in fact, pricking irons. And the reason that they're pricking irons is down to the teeth. We can see here that the teeth have this diamond shape to them, this tapering from the body, nice and broad, down to the tip. So the deeper in you go with these irons, the bigger hole you're going to get. So the idea behind these irons is basically to prick with them. That being said, the teeth are so highly polished and everything about the body about these is not sharp at all. You can actually punch through with them, and I'm going to. I have done. I've got a piece of 3.5mm here. I'm going to look at different ways that we can use these irons. We can use them properly by pricking, or we could use them incorrectly by punching through the leather. Both will give you a result, and we can see there's a brushed steel, very fine brushed steel finish to it, but we can see the teeth are actually quite nicely polished. Okay. So we will now draw a nice dividing line to follow. I will slap the iron onto the line, and like with all pricking irons, we don't sit it to one side, we don't sit it in the channel, we straddle the line, and that's what we end up with. That's actually quite firm. If we come out with a little less power, we can see the holes. I'm probably going off camera there. That we can take our awl to, we can stitch. However, what I'm going to do, and again, this is 3.5mm thick shoulder. We can see there we've got about 1mm of tooth sticking out the back. So I've measured this. The teeth at the tip is sharp, and going up to about 3mm, which is way beyond, because this is about 4.5mm line, we are getting towards the 2.5mm. So this is going to give us a 3mm hole. That's a massive hole. If you want a nice fine delicate stitch, that's going to be too big, isn't it? That's going to be humongous. Look at that size of that hole, and if I get a piece of white paper behind it, we can see there, look at the size of the hole that's made. Huge! Oh dear, oh no. However, watch this. So tapping back down the hole again. Let's put the paper behind it. Look how much that's reduced. That's awesome. What that's done is that has cut a very fine slit, 1.9mm at the tip. It's then stretched the hole exactly like the other irons do, exactly like an awl blade does. Made the hole bigger so you can stitch. But as soon as you settle that back down again with tapping, bearing in mind these 8 holes I went all the way through. I made marks on my board. These I just pricked. They are very similar. Yes, they're different. We can see these ones are bigger because we've gone in further, but they're not that much bigger than the ones that we just pricked. We can get away with that. That's not bad at all, is it? So, by design, it is very much a pricking iron. However, it gives a great level of tolerance to be used as a stitching iron. I'd be reticent about going through anything thicker than this. That's a bit much. But if we were, for example, using something like this, and this is 1.5mm thick Lamport from Metropolitan Leather. Gorgeous leather. Gorgeous. Now, we obviously don't have to go anywhere near as firmly through this leather to actually get all the way through. And there we are, we're through. We've probably got about 0.5mm showing through there. Lovely hole. Let's just tap that down. That's not bad, is it? So that's the hole that it gives us. So we have a pricking iron that you can use as a stitching iron. I still wouldn't call it a stitching iron. I would call it a pricking iron that we can cheat with. So it's over-engineered. The steel is going to outlast us, and certainly the purpose that this tool is designed for. The teeth are exceptionally consistent, and they're set at 45 degrees, which is angling your stitch really well for the indicative angled English saddle stitch. And they say it's 45, and I'm happy to confirm that that is indeed the case. How much? All of these lovely irons, both of them, they come as a set. You can't buy this one, you can't buy this one individually. They come as a pair. How much? £109. That's $137 for the pair. I always favour, with all of the irons that I'm using, 0.6 Brady polyester tiger thread. It's a 25. Hard as nails. I'm going to do the same with his 7 SPI. It just screams out for that thread. However, Argo at Black Mountain Leather Company, when he sent me the irons, sent me some thread. I've got some Young Fu thread. Now, it's polycord thread, and I have it in 0.35, 0.45 and 0.55. Now I'm guessing the 0.35 would be really good for 12 to 10 SPI. The 0.45 would be really good for 9 to 8 SPI, and the 0.55 would be really good for 7 to 6 SPI. That's just a guess. You can blend. You can choke your holes with a heavier thread, or you can make it look dead delicate with a much lighter thread. That's down to you to play with. But if you had to back me into a corner, that's what I'm going to say. Let's put these in order. So 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5. 12 and 10, 9 and 8, 7 and 6. That's what I'm going to say. As a guide, as a very, very rough guide to start. Once you're underway, test it. Find out yourself. £7 a piece, 55 metres on a roll, £7 a piece, hundreds of colours. You've got, well, maybe not hundreds, maybe about 90, but you've got to go and have a look. It's actually really nice. Now, I fell in love. I was given this when I was out in the States. This is Twist, and I've been told that Twist is remarkably similar to Fu Young, and somebody even made mention that it was potentially a rebrand. Visually, that could be the case, because it looks like it is almost the same thread. I've never had that confirmed, so I don't know. But if you've ever come across Twist, what I will say is this Fu Young, it's not Fu Young, it's Young Fu. No eggs involved in this at all. This is remarkably similar, if not almost identical to Twist. Twist is nice. So we're going to be using 4. I'm going to do all 3 of these, the 5, 5, 4, 5 and the 3, 5, just to have a look, and I'm going to be doing the Ritzer 25 tiger thread. So I'm going to do 4 rows of holes at the top, and I'm going to punch through. I'm going to go all the way through to the back, making sure that I've got a nice exit hole on the back. What I haven't done is put a pad behind it, because you put a pad behind it, the iron goes in a lot further. So whilst I'm here, let's have a quick test of that. So we'll go back to the hole that we've already penetrated through. And the normal course of events, if you're using something like a Crimson Hide or a KS blade, you'd put about 2mm of steel behind the leather. And that is opening the hole up sufficient for you to stitch. So I've put 2mm of steel behind the leather, and we can see there, that's actually quite a humongous hole. That's a massive hole. However, tapping back down, that's not bad. That's not bad. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a set of pricking irons incorrectly. I am going to fully penetrate 3.5mm thick of leather with pricking irons, because I can close the hole up after, and that's nice. No awl is needed. I'm going to use a pad behind it. I'm going to do 4 rows of stitching. So let me, because you don't want to hear me banging, let me make the holes, and then we'll go over to the clam and we'll start having a look at how it stitches. How's that? 4 rows of holes made with a 3.85 Black Mountain leather co iron 7 SPI. Chunky as you like. Let's have a look, see what happens. Here we have our first row of stitching. I'm using a pair of John James number 4 saddler's harness needles, 0.6mm thick braided polyester tiger thread. I'm stitching left-handed, and yes, I know most of you are right-handed, but it's not about watching me stitch. It's about which way the camera fits, and the camera fits on that side with the mic really nicely, so I'll stick with left-handed. Bog standard stitch, left-handed, so no cast. If you're watching this and wondering how to get to this point, a little bit of beeswax wouldn't go amiss, to be fair. If you're wondering how to get to this point and how to stitch, subscribe to my Vimeo channel. I cover all the stitching styles on there. Traditional right hand, left hand priority, left hand, right hand priority, modern saddle stitch, left and right handed, back stitching, it's all in there. So if you are curious about how to stitch, don't be shy about logging on to Vimeo. Look for Armitage leather. It's £3 a month. There's about 60 videos on there at the moment or so. There are more. I've been very lax with the videos because of the American trips and everything, but that's behind me now, and I'm going to have more time to upload a whole bunch, and I've got some lovely ideas coming up. So I'm not going to make you watch me stitch all of these, but out of the 4 threads that I'm going to use, this is the thickest, and we can see that there's a bit of a tug going on, so the hole isn't that big that it's just sailing through. The hole is actually resisting being stitched, which isn't a bad thing, because what that is telling me is for 0.6mm thread, this hole is not too big. When we go down in size, we'll find it easier to stitch because the thread is thinner, but we pass that tipping point of where we reach the ideal thread and go a little too thin. Too thick, we can choke it, we can make it look a little bit too strong. Too thin, we can make it look a little too weak. But it's about you experimenting. So that's the row of stitching done with the 0.6mm tiger thread. Snip the needles off. Snip it off. I'm not worried about back stitching. I'm not teaching you how to stitch here. This is just looking at the different threads for this iron. Now the next one on the list is the 0.55 Young Fu. I got it the right way round that time. Nice and very bright, an orangey yellow I think, rather than a yellowy yellow. But it's what I have, so it's what I shall use. Right, you're going to have to bear with me. It's stuck in there, I've got to get it out. It's very wild. It wants to get in the way. There's a little bit of stretch to it. I'm not reviewing the thread, but the thread came with the irons. And rather than talking about the irons, we can actually just... all that stretch has gone now. So that first pull took quite a lot of stretch out of the thread. Stitch is nice. I can actually feel this stitch easier. The hole is offering less resistance, so therefore it's going through easier. So even at 0.05 mil, it's making a difference. Or it's the fact that it's round. It's heavily waxed, but I would say no more than the tiger thread. It's stitching rather nice actually. I like it. Having given it a couple of good firm pulls, we can see now the thread is becoming far more manageable. It's not going all over the place, so maybe it just needs a good stretch before you start. Let's move in. Now, I'm not looking at these. I'm up here, you're over there, and I'm looking down. So I can't actually see what you can see. I will do in a bit, I'll have a look. I'm going to stitch all 4 of these first. So, nothing to see here. I'm going to finish this row stitch, and I'm liking the thread. I'm liking the 5/5 at the moment. This is nice. 55 mil, yeah. 55 metre drum. I'd like to potentially source it on a 1,000 metre drum. 55 metres is not going to last me very long at all, so I'd like to see if I could get hold of bigger drums like this. That's something that I'd have an interest in. But this is actually really rather lovely to stitch. Right, let me finish this. Let me start on the 4/5. Then I'll come back and we'll have a bit of a conversation about that, and then we'll have a bit of a conversation about the 3/5, and then we'll look at all of them, tap them all down and have a look at what we think. Don't go away. So here we are, well underway with the Yongfu 0.45. Big massive stretch the first time I applied tension. That's settled down now, and again very unwieldy when I first started, but after that first stretch settled down. Very easy, thinner, going through the holes a lot easier, not catching as much. I could still feel a bit of resistance. I could feel a reasonable bit of resistance when the needle goes in. Now the needle is 0.82 millimeters thick, round. The hole the iron leaves is 1.9 mil wide, but about 2.5 mil thick when you start getting in towards driving that tooth into the leather. So it's interesting that I can actually feel the hole dragging on the needle. The hole is evidently beginning to close up already. So driving that iron deep into the leather is not actually seeming to be detrimental to the stitch. Again, I still haven't looked down. I can continue stitching. You're the one that can see this long before I can, so you're making your mind up already what you think. So anyway, by the by, that's the end of the 0.45. Let me finish this and come back and we'll have a chat stitching the 0.35. This is the 0.35. Very unusual to use such a light thread on 7 SPI, but we don't know if we don't try. Massive stretch to the point of I was fairly certain I was going to snap it. Didn't break at all. Gave a good stretch, evened out, and now stitching with it, there's a little bit of bounce, but not a fat lot. So, less resistance, all I'm feeling is the needles. That's actually stitching rather nice. I mean, you know, what do you think? Let me know. Oh, incidentally, on that point, if you do have a question, if you have a question directly for me, drop me an email. Don't ask it below. Once I pop the video up, it's rare I'll pop back and have a look and check the questions. So if you've got a question, send me an email, nigel@armitageleather.com. If you've got a comment, then by all means stick it below. If you're going to give the video a thumbs down, say why. Let me know. Because if I'm doing something you don't like, bearing in mind I can't please all the people, I'll see if I can adjust it. Folks, there we are, 4 rows of stitching. I have no idea yet what they look like. I'm curious. Hopefully my stitching's alright, that's the main thing. The thread we can worry about later. Let me have a look, let me see what we think. Oh, it gets dark, doesn't it? Loses a little bit of vibrancy. Bit of wax in there. Actually, you know, they've given a good representation of themselves. I know that we have a much darker yellow than the Ritzer. The Ritzer at the top is certainly far more vibrant than the Young Fu, but if you were to be stitching in a colour, then that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. If you've got a red or a black or a white even, that's absolutely fine, but it's given a good stitch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap these down, close these holes up, see that thread nice and flat, then we're going to go to the board and we're going to have a good look and see what we think. So bear with me and let me sort that out first. Well, that was a treat. I thought after I'd finished stitching them that the Young Fu thread had gone quite opaque and dark. It was showing the black through it. But once I tapped down to close the holes up, the yellow came back. And I'm quite pleased with that. So the vibrancy kicked back in again. So that's kind of cool. What's also cool is I've used one iron to create 4 rows of holes with 4 different threads and got 4 different stitches. We've got a nice heavy stitch at the top with the tiger thread. We've then got the 5/5, the 4/5 and the 3/5. You could use this on a wallet, you could use this on a belt, or even if you're just stuck with the Young Fu, use that on a belt, use that on a purse or a bag. One iron will give you a little bit of versatility, and that's kind of cool. But the interesting thing, most of all, is it is a pricking iron. It's not a stitching iron. It's reminiscent. It's made exactly the same way as the original stitching irons. But we've really shoved this into the leather. This is 3.5mm thick. I've gone in at least a mil. So we've gone into 4.5mm of the tooth. And we can see the size of the hole that that's made. But even though we've done that and we've created a massive hole, tapping down after stitching has closed that hole up. So it's cut at the very tip, a very fine slit, 1.9mm long. Spread it open by stretching it, but then let the leather relax back with tapping down to close the hole. It's good quality leather. I mean, the stuff that I've used for this is 0.3mm waxy dye through shoulder from La Prevo up in Newcastle upon Tyne. Brilliant company, cracking folks, excellent leather. Give them a look up, tell them I said hi. They might look after you, you never know. I think we're on to a winner with these irons. We're looking at £109 for a set, not just one. 2 irons, you're getting 2 for that. You know, that's like saying this. Oh, hello, I just knock them all over the place. That's like saying the 2 tooth is 30 quid and the 8 tooth is 70 quid. Well, that's bang on. That's brilliant. If you're thinking about buying them in the States, then you're knocking off the VAT straight away. That's £20, 20 pence. So that's going to help cover postage. So it's still going to be about 109 by the time it lands with you, there or thereabouts. Depends on how you have it shipped. Argo, who runs the company Black Mountains in Wales with his wife, I'll let you know what the ship is going to be. So you really need to talk that through with them and see what their rates are. I don't know. But I've got to say that it's not a massive gamble. It's not particularly expensive. If you're just starting out, what a cracking little tool, and what a range it gives you. Folks, if you want to download the pack with the information on all the irons in all the pricking iron and stitching iron videos, go to my website, armitageleather.com, and you can download it there. It's in the courses. I know it isn't. It's in the shop page. I'll stick a link so you know. If you want the irons themselves, www.blackmountainleather.com, go there. If you're struggling with any of the techniques that you see me use and you want to learn how to saddle stitch, be it traditional, be it modern, be it left-handed, right-handed, go to Armitage Leather on Vimeo and look me up there. Subscribe, £3 a month. It's worth every penny because there's a shed load of videos, and there's shed load of videos more coming. And the dogs say hi. They're saying Vimeo. That's what they're saying. They're telling you to do Vimeo. Folks, I hope it helps. A really interesting little insight. I've been using these for a while. Students have used them. Everybody that has used them has loved them. Everybody that has used them has bought a set while they were here. Not from me. They've got online straight away because it's quick shipping. And everything about it is positive. It's impartial. They send me these. I'll tell you what I think. I won't tell you what they want me to say, but there's not an awful lot negative about these for 110 quid. I hope it helps. Folks, enjoy.